Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today's weekly boost is going to be talking about embracing authenticity over obligation. Now, again, just as a PSA, I'm not a medical practitioner or a mental health professional. I did, however, do a lot of research on this topic, so if you'd like to look up the cited sources for yourselves, they will be listed down below in the description box. So again, embracing authenticity over obligation. Have any of you ever felt the weight of expectations pressing down on you, guiding your choices more than your own desires? It's a common experience navigating the delicate balance between fulfilling societal and familial obligations and honoring our true selves. Now, imagine standing at a crossroads. One path is well-trodden, lined with signs of approval, tradition, and stability. The other is less defined, illuminated by your passions, values, and dreams. Now, choosing the latter can be extremely daunting, but it's often where genuine fulfillment resides. Now, research consistently shows us that living authentically, which is aligning our actions with our true selves, leads to greater psychological well-being. A meta-analysis published in Personality and Individual Differences found a strong correlation between authenticity and life satisfaction, self-esteem, and positive affect. When we live authentically, we experience enhanced mental health. Authentic individuals report lower levels of stress and anxiety, stronger relationships. Being true to oneself fosters deeper, more meaningful connections, and increased life satisfaction. Aligning actions with personal values leads to a more fulfilling life. Conversely, consistently choosing obligation over authenticity can have detrimental effects. A study highlighted in Cited Behavioral Health revealed that 75% of participants felt stressed due to societal expectations, impacting their self-esteem and emotional health and well-being. Choosing authenticity doesn't just benefit us. It sets a powerful example for those around us, especially children, if we have them. By living true to ourselves, we teach them the value of self-awareness, courage, and integrity. They learn that it's okay to pursue their passions, be themselves, and that their worth isn't determined by external validation. Unfortunately, many parents today stay in unfulfilling relationships believing it's for the good of their children. But research and emotional insight suggest otherwise. Now, we all know that children are incredibly perceptive. Even without loud conflict, they can sense emotional distance, tension, and unspoken sadness between parents. These silent signals shape how they understand love, safety, and emotional availability. Growing up in a home where warmth and affection are absent, even if everything appears stable on the surface, can make children more closed off to vulnerability and affection as adults. They may feel uneasy giving or receiving love, unsure of how intimacy is supposed to feel, because what they learned was coldness disguised as security. The truth is, staying together for the kids can unintentionally teach them to settle for disconnection rather than seek healthy, honest love. Now, what children need most is not necessarily two parents under one roof, but rather they need to witness what mutual respect, tenderness, and authenticity look like in action? When parents are emotionally fulfilled and living in alignment with their truth, they create a sanctuary where their children can flourish. Love, after all, is learned by example. A home filled with sincerity and warmth gives children the confidence to love freely, trust deeply, and build secure relationships of their own. Now, I'll share my own personal example regarding this particular point. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, I went over to a friend's house for a play date. At one point, my friend went to the bathroom, and I was left in the living room while her mom relaxed outside sunbathing with a book. A few minutes later, my friend's dad came home from work. He said hello to me in passing and walked straight out to the backyard to greet his wife. Now, I just so happened to look over in time to see my friend's dad bend down and kiss his wife directly on the mouth. I just remember feeling completely shocked, almost frozen. That moment made such an imprint on me. Now, when my friend came back, I didn't say anything at all. But for the rest of the play date, I couldn't stop thinking about what I had just witnessed. So later that day, when my parents picked me up, we went grocery shopping right after. But I couldn't hold in any longer what I had seen. I had such a heaviness weighing on my mind and heart. So while walking through the parking lot to the store, I told my mom, I have to tell you something. I explained what I had seen in my friend's backyard and how disturbed I felt at seeing it firsthand. Now, to my surprise, my mom laughed. I was completely bewildered and a little pissed as to why she was laughing. To me, I had felt like I'd witnessed something inappropriate and strange. The reason for this was simple. I had never personally seen my own parents show outward affection like that in my home. Now, it's not that they didn't love each other, but not once had I personally seen a kiss on the lips, a deep lingering hug, or moments of playful teasing or flirtation. It wasn't until much later, when I was already out of high school, that I saw them start to become more playful with each other, maybe dancing in the kitchen or hugging randomly. But by then, those early blueprints had already been laid within me. I wasn't taught, definitely not by example, that outwardly showing affection to the ones we love was normal or safe. I had to teach myself that as an adult on my own. To this day, I still carry some of those imprints, and the old programming can make me flinch at physical closeness at times, or it can make me feel uncertain about whether I deserve tenderness. Growing up, my dad had various rules in the home, and one of them was that I had an older sibling. I have one older brother. He's 4.5 years older than me. And whenever we would go in the car, we had a station wagon. My spot was always in the back on the left-hand side, and my brother's spot was always on the right in the back. My dad would always tell us, imagine there's an invisible line between you two. So, needless to say, we were never the type of siblings to wrestle or roughhouse with each other. My dad simply would not allow that type of behavior. I can now understand where he was coming from and why he enforced those rules, But all those subtle cues made it harder for me to believe that I was worthy of love that showed itself openly. Over time, I came to the realization that I am a very deep-feeling person, and that I have been since a small child. But not being able to express that exactly as my spirit needed to show it, because I simply didn't know how to, created a deep sense of misalignment in my sense of identity as I grew older. It wasn't until my lifelong journey with therapy at 14 years old that I started to understand what was actually healthy for me, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Love and acceptance, although it sounds cliche, were at the root of so many struggles I faced during my adolescence and teenage years. Because I didn't see outward expressions of love between my parents for the most part of my childhood, concepts like self-love and self-respect were incredibly difficult for me to grasp, let alone embody. It wasn't until I reached my late 30s that I finally understood what these things looked like for me, because they're different for everyone. Now, there are times where I think, now would I have been a more secure, confident person if I had seen more affection between my parents growing up? Possibly, but I'll never really know now, will I? What I do know, from both personal experience and research, is that if you're currently in a relationship that makes you feel like your wings are clipped, like you've had to bury the parts of yourself that make you feel the most alive just to keep the peace, your kids will notice. The energy in the home shifts. That spark in you, the one that maybe used to be intrinsically linked to who you were. Perhaps it was a goofy sense of humor, having an unconventional way of looking at the world, a dreamer mentality, or having an enthusiastic personality. Those things dim, and maybe by your own doing over time, until they are completely snuffed out. All of that has a ripple effect on your family. Over time, I learned through observation, research, and healing that affectionate connection between parental figures who are unafraid to be their authentic and true selves is not only healthy, but essential. Because a home filled with genuine love and affection is what provides children with true stability. That's what teaches a child to feel lovable and to love well in return. It's better to have one emotionally secure, happy parent at home than two unfulfilled, unhappy parents bonded together by a sense of moral obligation and routine in order to keep up appearances and provide their children with what they feel is the best family dynamic. In the end, all children want is simple: happy, emotionally available parental figures under the same roof. That's the environment where they thrive. That's the kind of home where love teaches without saying a word. So this week, I encourage any and all of you to maybe reflect on areas where obligation may be overshadowing authenticity. Consider small steps you can take to align more closely with your true self. Remember, embracing authenticity is not a rejection of responsibility, but rather a commitment to living a life that resonates with your inner truth. Well, I hope that this has helped some of you who are watching this, and thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free to give this video a like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I hope to see you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.